Hey everybody, it's Chris Schooker with Scott Johannes. We are the owners of Digital Horizons, and today we are going to commentate and give you some behind the scenes insight on an installation that we completed. I don't know, it's been about 6 months or so, 6 to 8 months we finished this one up. And yeah, it was pretty cool little project that we did. So we're really excited to bring some behind the scenes insight to you. So why don't you start us off and tell them what we're doing here.
Well, it's just your standard video wall with 16 panels.
Your everyday
Yeah,
4K 220 inch. Yeah.
yeah. Little bit on the challenging side because, as you can see here, we're trying to true up the wall, true up the mounts, which is one of the biggest things with the base of it, getting all your mounts, getting everything straight and level, because you have to start getting everything perfectly square, perfectly level, so you don't have the panels shifting.
We're
and
like building a
sticking out.
house on a house, right? Like we have to have the wall flat, plumb. We have to have that baseline to start from.
All the mounts have to be
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
because if you don't, it's going to be a real pain later, and it's a pain either way. But
So what are the black lines that are on there, which may be hard to tell?
those are big pieces of unistrut.
Okay.
The mounts that we're using have kind of a standard unistrut rail that it comes with for ease of mounting. And so what we chose to do was to do a full piece of rail so we could get it trued up all three axes or all three dimensions straight as
Yep.
we could
Okay.
to start with. So then all the mounts, when we put them up there, at least there was a common point all the way
baseline,
across
yeah.
that was perfectly straight. So yeah.
So the electrician came in and added outlets at the top there, and then the all of the panels will eventually share the power from those outlets, right?
We ended up putting in surge protectors. You'll probably see it at the very end, but we put surge protectors in to power all of those on three different power circuits.
20 amp circuits or something. I
Yeah, it's
assume.
three 20 amp circuits. The displays pull a fair amount of power because they're a high output display.
They're very bright. They were like
Oh,
a
yeah.
700 nit display or 500 nit display
Right.
or something.
And
Yeah.
we actually had them turned down pretty much as far as you could turn them down.
Yeah.
Just because in
really bright.
this application they actually turn the lights off and they have it dim and they actually watch movies in here. So
But then when the lights are on, it's like a.
oh yeah, it's perfectly fine.
And that was one of the large reasons that the owner wanted or ultimately needed a video wall in here over. They had a projection system in there before, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
in a projection system, the downside is you're more susceptible to your lights being on. You have to have a controlled environment for it to work properly. And a video wall doesn't have that downside. It can work,
Either way.
Either way,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So what are we putting up now?
Those are the brackets for all the displays, or the adjustable part of the brackets.
And they're not a normal mount either, are they?
No, they've got adjustments for every single direction and dimension you can think of. So you can shift where it's locked in the back position, how much you want it sitting out on either side, tilted, if you want it at a specific angle, off angle, a specific corner needs to be out a little bit more than the other. You've got just about every adjustment you can possibly think of for that.
And we'll see it later, but it also, and this is probably the main reason we use the mounts, 50% of what you described and then 50% of this, where it actually pulls away
Yep.
for servicing.
The maintenance part of it.
Yep. And install. I mean, like when you're
Correct.
going in and you're making connections, like that pull-out feature is dynamite.
Right. If you were using normal mounts, I don't even see how that would be possible.
Right.
I mean, at least to be possible and get it finished up nice and get all the panels trued up with
Right.
each other, I don't see how that would even be possible.
And even more important for all of those things are because these displays were razor thin on the bezel.
Right.
More so than virtually any other video wall display, short of when you do like LED tiles and stuff, which have no
Right.
no barrier. The bezel was what, 0.5 millimeters, or it was insanely thin.
Yeah, it's like 1.2 total from
Yeah.
side to side.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So with that, you also have to be very, very careful when handling it so that
Correct.
you don't pick it up and smash the panel.
Yep.
You have to use
which
the
fortunately
handles.
didn't happen with any of
Nope,
these,
that
but
didn't happen.
it can happen.
It's real easy to do if you don't know what you're doing or don't watch out for what you're doing.
So when you have such a thin bezel and you're having to align four corners up, down, left, right, in and out, that mount that has the adjustment to do that it's just necessary.
It's
It's
the
a
only
minimum.
way
You
to
have
do
to
it.
have that.
Yeah.
Because with regular tilt mounts, you have maybe a height adjustment a little bit and some skew based on where you attach it on the back, but that's it.
There's no way to level
No.
it like that. No.
It's so limiting, in fact, that there's nothing you could do to prepare for it to make those work. You have to have a mount like this when you're doing a video wall, and if you don't, you just can't line things up
Right.
to the level that it should be.
Yeah, if you're ever walking through an airport or something and you see a 2x2 video wall of 4 screens and they're all kind of in and out and you can see the edges between,
Let's be honest.
that's-
The viewers of this video aren't looking at those things like
No,
we are.
I am when I walk through. Last time I was through the airport,
Menu boards at McDonald's
Yep.
and
Yeah.
we're kind of geeks when it comes to that stuff. But now that you've seen this video and you're in an airport looking at it, you'll notice those corners are often out of alignment because they maybe didn't use this type of a mount.
or the guy who last serviced it didn't
Right,
care and you just
right.
went,
Or somebody walked up and pressed
yeah,
on it or something.
There's
But
a lot of reasons.
so since we've been chatting this whole time, we've been routing some wires. What's going on there?
It's all the interconnects. All the displays. You can do it a couple different ways. These displays have a video input and then they have a loop out, which would go to the next display to daisy chain
Yep.
the video signal.
And that the one way goes through all of the displays that way, right? So
Correct.
in display one,
All the
through
way through
3,
to
4, 5,
16.
6, 7, 8, all the way to 16.
Yep.
And then when you do that, what happens?
It just passes the video through, so they all get the same video signal at the same time.
Yep.
And then inside the menu of the TV for setting up the video wall part of it, they have special settings where it can take that video signal and only crop out exactly what quadrant.
Got it.
So you would set up
You tell it
your
what
display
position.
1
yeah.
out of 16 or 4 out of 16, and it knows what part of the video to take on its own.
Got it.
Yep. Also between there, you end up running RS-232 communication in and out between all the displays. So when you run it with a control system like we are in this case, you don't have to tell all 16 TVs to do something individually. You just send one command through and they all do the same thing
Got
as
it.
long as you have the data passing through all the displays.
So the bottom row is up, and is there a method to this and why we've only done the bottom row?
Just to start at the bottom, get everything lined up as best we can, and then work your way up. You can see Dustin's got a 6-foot level there. We're trying to get everything trued up, and we're basing it off of the bottom row.
Yep.
If you were to start at the top, it'd be the same thing. You have to start at the top row and work your way down. These particular mounts, the adjustment points and everything that you need to get to is kind of in the top crown of the mount.
Yep.
So if you need to make adjustments, you're better off starting at the bottom and working your way up.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're going to be fighting it the whole way.
Yep.
And you can see how we've got all the cables laced in between everything there. It's all harnessed up, strapped up to the wall, so when you go to pull the trigger on the bottom to pop a mount out, all the wiring is mounted to the back wall, the
And can
TV comes
pull.
out, and then there's slack behind it for it to pull out.
Got it. Now, worth noting, this video is obviously going pretty quick. There's a lot of stuff happening. I think in total it's like 11 minutes. But this represents 2 weeks of install off and on.
The install part of it was about 4 or 5 days.
Got it.
Yeah, there was some more calibration, which I don't think is in this video, but there's actually calibration.
A little
at
bit
the
in
end.
here.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the end, that takes where you have to go through and actually, with a special tool and a laptop and software, check all the quadrants of the individual display, and the software matches all of the displays together so they
Yep.
all have the same picture.
Because when you're showing one big image, you're often showing the same color, and the displays natively out of the box aren't calibrated to each other because Samsung, which is what these panels are, they have no idea if the display is being installed in a video wall or how big it is.
Right.
So there's no point for them to do that at the factory.
There's a rough calibration at
Right.
the factory, but it's
Yep.
not close enough.
Correct.
If you just went with that and you showed a big picture on the screen, you would know.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not quite right. So, and you can see it. Well, you probably can't see it because it's going so
It's
fast.
moving a lot, but
But as we put a row up, and we turn them on, we're starting to get the picture right away, and that was just like a rough setup on the display of the rough setup of the panel.
yep.
And I was just going through setting up all the color settings the same, so they were close.
Close. Yep.
But you can see out of the box when you turn it on, it's like it's not the same as the rest.
Right.
So
Yep. Now we did something different with this. There's a control system in place, right, to automate everything.
correct. Yeah. There's an RTI panel processing system that runs off of an iPad.
Okay.
And so we have that programmed in the background to turn this on. There's a media over IP distribution system for the rest of the museum or the rest of the building here for all the other displays in the building.
Okay.
And so that iPad that we custom programmed runs this area plus all the other areas plus the audio. All they have to do is turn on the iPad, go to there, and select what they want, and the control system takes care of the rest.
Got it. Got it. So in the end, you're kind of doing some basic calibration here, I think, right?
Yep, this is the start. There's
And you can see there
Oh,
how
yeah.
the uniformity is off, and it's really necessary to do the calibration.
yeah, surprisingly the brighter, like more white or light gray screens really shows the difference.
Yeah.
Colors, the primary colors kind of blend in themselves pretty well, but the off colors, the mixtures of a primary plus another primary,
Yep.
it can be it's very easy for it to be off.
Yeah.
So the only way a person can go through and do it is run this software, and it takes some time.
Yeah.
As you can see there, this is going through doing testing on just one panel in the corner.
Yep.
And you could see there the flashes. It was basically running all the different color patterns and analyzing it. And there's a default value that it should be getting back, and as it's reading it, it's making adjustments.
Stores it and then
Stores
moves
it,
on
and
to the
then
next one.
once you're finally done with that, which is about 15 minutes, then you go to the next one. So calibrating something like this is about a day-long process.
At least.
At least.
At least. Yeah.
Depending on how close you want to get.
Right. And some panels and different manufacturers have different capabilities and
Correct.
respond differently to it. And unfortunately, there isn't really there isn't a standard process for it, but it really is like one of the most important parts to the video wall is the calibration, because without it, it's real obvious that it is a video wall, and there's already enough things that make it obvious that it's a video wall. So the
Right.
calibration is really important. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, got a little bit of behind the scenes information and understanding of the video wall. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest thing that we install or most challenging, and 1 being the easiest, where would you rate that?
This?
Yeah.
Probably about a 6.5.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Is it
This was time consuming.
yeah, and repetitious, and
Yeah. That I don't
it's
consider
the
that-
measure 3 times, do it once.
Yeah, I think when you start getting into VLAN tagging and fiber optic networks between
Yeah.
buildings, and that's
another
that
level.
starts stressing your brain a little bit. That's
Yeah.
a little bit harder, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it turned out nice. So thanks again, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.